All right. Here we go on a Wednesday. This report sponsored by Unbound.org. The Padres last night down 5-0 early to the Dodgers, but Matt Waldron, by the way, gave up all 5 of those runs in the first. But the Padres did battle back. They were down 5-3 in the bottom of the ninth. Manny Machado hits his second home run of the game, brings San Diego within 1. Then Jackson Merrill tied the game with a home run of his own. Robert Suarez dominates the Dodgers in extra innings. In the bottom of the 10th, Donovan Solano with the game winner walk-off RBI single. Woo! Padres win 6-5. They play again tonight at 6:40. Dylan Cease on the mound. The trade deadline came and went yesterday. Padres did make one more move before time expired. They acquired closer Tanner Scott and fellow reliever Brian Honig from the Marlins. It was costly, though. In return, the Marlins got Robbie Snelling, Adam Major, Graham Pauley, and Jay Bashirs. And if you're keeping track, that's numbers 2, 4, and 5 on the Padres prospect list right now. There are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family to put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, happy Wednesday to those who celebrate. Happy hump day to you all.
Mike.
We're doing it. We are doing it. You're watching something special happen. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I hope it's not a train. Let's go, Padres.
Woo!
That was a sensational watch yesterday. I apologize to anybody who turned off that game, and I know many of you did.
In any number one.
You see your starting pitcher get shelled in the first inning. You're not even in the bottom of the first. There are fans who are still making their way from the concession stand to their seats with their nachos and their Stone IPAs, and they're going, "Oh, damn it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now?"
Exactly. Yeah, fans who probably haven't even parked yet.
Yeah.
As they're fighting their way to get into Petco Park. I mean, it was, I was down in the dumps.
Who was it?
Yeah, I was not good. But for some reason, I did hang on in that game as they slowly fought back. And, was it maybe the third, fourth, somewhere in there? All of a sudden, the Padres were within striking distance.
Yeah.
And then, and I guess I had a little hope there, but I was not expecting the complete dominant shutdown of the Dodgers that the Padres did for the rest of that game.
Well, what was crazy is defensively, they had to do some crazy things to stay in that game. I mean, you saw the diving catch from Jackson Merrill. You saw Manny Machado flashing leather over the Dodgers dugout and then doing it again, falling into the foul ball net on the third baseline. You saw what it took for these relievers to carry this game, and Matt Waldron to hang tough after having a really, really rough first inning against the Dodgers, and that lineup can hit. We know that. And the Dodgers have felt like at any moment the floodgates are going to open again. Like they are just going to get on a hitting streak, and they're going to get somebody home, and it's just what they do. They never say die. They never give up. And guess what? Neither do the Padres this season.
That's not what we're used to saying.
Yeah.
That's not what we're used to saying. In fact, last season, Juan Soto made a statement of, sometimes we just give up out there.
Yeah.
And that hurt as a Padre fan.
Yeah,
I mean, that hurt.
If you pay attention to this team and you heard what Juan Soto said, it stabbed you right in the heart. I mean, it was one of those things that just you couldn't believe it when you heard it. We played it back for a week. You know, we're sitting on the show breaking it down. Well, maybe he meant it this way. Actually, maybe he didn't mean it at all. You know, you're like going through the stages of grief of the season, and we still had a lot of season left. It was a weird year last year. This year is not last year. This year's team is not last year's team. There is a different heartbeat thumping inside the chest of these players, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of Peter Seidler, and they're fighting harder in the remembrance of the former Padres owner who was beloved by the team in the city. I don't know if it's because Mike Schilt has found a way to grab the rudder of this ship and guide them through choppy waters at times to Providence. I don't know if it's AJ Preller knowing that he's on his last legs potentially as a general manager, president of baseball operations here in San Diego. So he's pulling out all the stops and making sure to connect with the clubhouse and the guys, and and maybe sprinkling his thoughts on some of these players over the course of the season, whispering in their ear, hey, listen, we're you guys kick it into gear. We're going to get you some help. We're going to make sure that this team's ready to make the stretch run. Just get me some wins, whatever it may be that's happening. Or, you know what? I want to credit the people who are most important. Maybe these guys who are on the ball field, you're starting 9 night in, night out, they just have the goods. And we've been underrating them this season. Whatever the combination or whatever it is, or the combination of things that has occurred to lead us to this point, I don't care. I'm just so glad it's happening.
Yeah, same. If it is AJ Preller and it's his magic that he's sprinkling around, is there a little bit of you though that goes, why now, buddy? Why are you sprinkling it now? I mean, that's the reason I think it's probably not AJ Preller, except for the fact that he is putting pieces on this team that are working together. So if it was a culture issue or a locker room issue, he's putting the correct people there to try to solve that locker room issue.
If you take a look at AJ Preller's last 5 years, say, and we discount the first bunch of years that he was a general manager, you would be probably overall pretty impressed with the job he's done. You might at times say, well, that was a little head scratching, and why this and why that. And sometimes with general managers, we criticize them, but they are shackled to some of the strictures put in place by ownership. So there are sometimes decisions are made where publicly you're like, this doesn't make sense, or why did they do this, or why didn't they do this? And there could be some bigger reason floating out there that we're unaware of, and they have to play politician. But over the past 5 years, I would say this has been overall a pretty successful ball club, especially considering where they came from. Now, if he was the general manager for just this handful of years, you would say, well, great job, AJ Preller. The problem is we watched what happened for all those years before. Like, we watched him bring in, sell off the farm, bring in a bunch of free agents, and have that team completely underperform. And then we watched him go through the process of selling off all of those guys and restocking the farm. And the Padres just stunk out loud for about 3 years. And I think his message to the ownership was, trust the process. We're going to get better soon. And soon dragged for a bit. And then they sign Hosmer, and then they sign Machado, and then they call up Fernando Tatis Jr., and he's a traded player on their farm system who's just doing special things. And they sign him to the massive contract. And then they start the bankroll was open at that point. It felt like every week Peter Seidler was giving him a blank check, and he was spending it on some high prized talent. So I don't know. I mean, which one do you think you trust? You trust the whole body of work? Do you just trust the last 5 years? AJ Preller deserves some credit, but it is a mixed bag of results.
Yeah, and at the moment, like you said, I don't care. I'm on the ride here. You got me. You're 7 games over 500. You are. I don't think they've lost a series to the Dodgers this season.
They have not.
They split. So, and then this is a 2-game series, so they're not going to lose this one again. And was it 2022? The year that they beat the Dodgers in the NLCS?
Yeah.
That they had
NLDS.
NLDS, sorry. And then NLDS, that they lost every series, or was that last season? They're blurring together.
Yeah, no, that I believe was 2022, where they lost every single series. It was to the Dodgers. And then we got to the divisional round, and we're thinking to ourselves, well, of course they're running into this team in the divisional round. And everybody, I mean, everybody from LA was teasing Padres fans. Yeah. I was up in LA. I remember right before that series started. And there was a lot of like, hey, yeah, that stinks for your Padres. It's just a rough draw for them,
Yeah, sorry, you got to play us.
Yeah, and it was funny because I think honestly, Dodgers fans were like, well, we know how this one's going to go. Mm-hmm. And it went so completely different. That was such a special series. Obviously, the pouring rain and the Blink-182 sing along, and some of the things you saw on the field, the Juan Soto connection, we thought that was going to be something that may last for years to come, but that flame flickered and went out, and then he was traded away and kind of unceremoniously. Look, I don't know, man. I don't want to live in the past too much because the present is so fun. What we watched yesterday was something so uncharacteristic from what we've seen last year that I can't even make that comparison anymore. It's July 31st. The calendar is about to tick over here to August 1. We have the Hall of Fame game in the NFL coming up tomorrow. Like, this is when good teams start to really stomp their foot to the metal, and they start just blowing by other teams in the pack. The Padres could be one of those good teams who gets hot at the right time. And I've been hoping, I didn't know if it was going to happen, but I've been hoping all season long it was going to happen.
Do you have a little fear they're getting hot too early?
Boy, yeah, it could happen.
And I don't know if it's just because I have PTSD from last season, and I'm waiting for something to fall apart.
It's kind of like good problems to have. Did you watch that game at any point yesterday where you were like, yeah, they're probably not going to win this one? Or did you feel like you were hanging in the whole time?
For the Padres?
For the Padres.
I thought the Padres were not going to win that until the ninth inning. I did not think they were going to, but I was there just to watch. Let's see what plays out here. Being down 5-0, again, from last season, what I got conditioned to was if the Padres are down, especially down early, they do not battle back.
No.
And that has been different this season. We have seen a lot of battle back here with this Padre team. And oh man, Manny Machado with 2 home runs in the game, clutch in the ninth inning. I mean, this year, these are items that we're not used to seeing. That is so exciting because those are the stats on the back of the baseball cards that we have been saying, let's go, for the past several years.
Yeah. And listen, for the past several years, I think a lot of people have felt like, well, hey, Manny, we love you. We love your leadership, but, we wish you, I don't know, maybe played politician a little bit better. Maybe we didn't have to go through these periods of times where we have to see you pout because we know things are going bad. We're just looking for somebody, not to laugh at it, not to take it less seriously, but to give inspiration to those who are aboard with you, who are trying to find the optimism. And don't get me wrong, he says all the right things. I don't want to make it sound like Manny Machado is this moody whatever who just can't seem to handle his emotions. I think he says, for the most part, the right things. But man, it's like riding a wave with Manny. Yeah. Sometimes the waves are coming in sets, and you're just like, whoa, at bat after at bat, wave after wave. Like, it's just crazy. I mean, we're having fun out here. And then sometimes you're in the doldrums, and it takes a while for him to get out of the doldrums. Sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes a couple. Last year, it was basically the whole year, and we can blame injury and we can blame, a lot of things for those issues, but it just felt off, and it hasn't felt good in a long time. I'm hoping we're getting to the good part again with Manny Machado, and it seems like we might be. He played out of his mind last night.
Yeah.
That was an incredible performance.
So when you were watching the game, were you feeling like, oh, the Padres are going to come back and win this thing?
Well, you know what? After, as we were getting to the late innings, and I realized, I'm like, oh, wow, they haven't scored since the first. Like, it didn't dawn on me actually until later on, because I turned the game on in the first. I part of the way into the first inning, and they're getting shellacked. And I'm just like, ooh, this is going to be a long night for the Friars. And so, you get busy doing other stuff and you keep checking in on the game. But at a certain point, the kids are asleep. I sit down and I'm watching this game and I'm like, oh, yeah, wow, they still haven't scored again. And so that's when it kicked into my brain where I'm like, oh, yeah, we're approaching the 6th inning. And this team is still very much so in this game, because they did some work in the third, like you had mentioned. And it looked like they were going to hang in there. And they did. Again, shocking, not expected. This has been a pretty turbulent year, and we've seen good things and bad things both. And I thought potentially this is the start of something bad for the Padres right after all of this excitement heading into the trade deadline. Here we go. We're going to take another one of those dips. And they fought it off for at least one more night.
Yeah. And Robert Suarez in the 10th inning. Hater who? I mean, he came out and just shoved.
And more help coming in the bullpen.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. We have a Kevin Acee tweet about the haul the Padres had to send away to restock the bullpen. We'll explain all that. And also, Kevin Acee is going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour in just about an hour and 15 minutes. Our Padres insider, who was at the ballpark until the late hours of the evening into the morning, is going to jump on the show this morning. So excited for that. This, though, is our opportunity to bring you an iHeart exclusive audio update from NBC News Radio Olympics report. The Olympics are underway, and iHeart Radio is the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage. All right, that Olympic update is brought to you by your local Paradise Islands. Their fine burgers and drinks. Yeah, gosh, got to get us to Islands, especially this fall coming up. That happy hour from 3 to 6:30. All those delicious burgers, the iciest cold beer you can drink. Yeah, so Kevin Acee, obviously covering the Padres, had some thoughts and some tweets about what happened at the deadline. Here's his. I guess there's a little conjecture and a little information here. It's quite a haul that the Padres are sending to Miami for closer Tanner Scott and fellow reliever Brian, help me on the name, Honig. Yeah. Robbie Snelling, Adam Mazier, Graham Polly, Jay Bashirs. That's the 2, 4, and 5 on the prospect list. That's 12. That's 12 top 15 prospects traded since March. So remember, Dylan Cease came in, wasn't free. Luis Arraez came in, was not free. We were talking about Jason Adam right off of the trade deadline, or up against trade deadline over the weekend. And now we have Tanner Scott and Brian Honig joining the gang. They've dealt a lot of prospects to get these guys.
So the top 15 guys, the top 15 Padres that you have sitting, waiting in the wings to become your culture building team, to become your next Padre superstars, if it all panned out. The top 15 of them, 12 of them are gone to build this team right now this season.
So being a general manager, it's kind of like a game of nip and tuck, right? It's a little bit of, hey, I'm going to jam my thumb into this hole in the dam, and I know there's going to be another one that breaks out. I just hope it's within a stretch that I can jam my pinky finger in that hole in the dam. And then if another one breaks out, maybe somebody can reach over my shoulder. Like you are basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? You are stealing from the future to aid the present. And it's a dance. It really is. And you got to be careful. It's a counterballast. You know, you ever try to, balance a pencil when you're bored in school on top of the edge of the desk and just see how far you could get, the pencil before it falls off, or, like maybe just get that eraser just to lift just barely off the table before it tips off like that's what it is, though. It really is, because AJ Preller, he's not a bored student trying to buy time. He's trying to save his job. And also realizes, okay, I can't go to the front office or to the ownership with these, harebrained ideas where it's like, hey, listen, we're just going to dump everything out there on Main Street, and we're going to bring in a bunch of guys who are going to help us now, because if they don't, you lose your job. You're also not going to do a situation where, you convince the office or excuse me, the ownership, like, hey, look, we're going to preserve the future. We have a pretty good team right now, even if you have belief in them, because baseball. It's a long season. People get hurt. You're going to need more depth, especially in that pitching staff. And everybody knows that a strong bullpen can lead you through a postseason as long as your lineup can hit. Preserving leads in the postseason is everything. We've seen teams who could not finish games get bounced early. Dodgers, example, that's happened many times to them over this reign of success they've had. So I think that's what he was looking at. He was looking at trying to keep the balance here. If he's going to be around, not completely dump the farm out, not completely, although he's spent a lot, and have quality players at the major league level that he can go and win with and get a deep playoff run going. I think this Padres team is stocked and ready for bear.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I think that they have a very good shot of rolling along here. Talked about this briefly a little bit just a few minutes ago of are they peaking too early? Because it feels right now like they're about to roll into the playoffs. The level of excitement on the team, the winning, that hasn't been a winning streak, I guess, at this point, but it has been. I mean, 8 of the last 10, I guess, now. So that it feels like they should be moving into the playoffs next week, but there's 53 games left of the season. So they have to keep putting this together, keep rolling along down the track.
And you got to look over your shoulder because in division, obviously in your league, there is a team called the Los Angeles Dodgers. And even though you haven't lost a series to them yet this season, and who knows, maybe you'll beat them every single series. They did it once to the Padres back in 2022. And hopefully the results are the same for the Padres in the postseason where they don't lose to them. But I digress to just mention the fact that the Dodgers and the Padres both were in on the same pitcher, a rotation arm help in the starting rotation for the Padres. Jack Flaherty from Detroit, he ends up going to LA. Now they gave a little bit of a haul to the Tigers. They moved, I know a prospect catcher they like, and the top shortstop in their organization. Look, Flaherty is young. He's 28 years old. He's having a huge bounce back season with the Tigers this season. He's a sub 3 ERA guy. He's a flamethrower, and the Padres could have used him. There's no question. But Flaherty, look, he's a rental. So the Dodgers are doing what the Dodgers do. They're saying, "Hey, buckle up. We're gonna send some prospects to a team out there. We know we only have them for a short time, but we're gonna go out there and we're gonna win with this guy." And the Padres could have spent on him, but instead, I think they had their eye further down the road.
I don't think the bad thing. I'm okay with that. When you talk about looking over your shoulder in the playoff picture right now, the wild card race, Padres are just in by a half a game. So right over their shoulder, the Diamondbacks a half a game back. Then you got the Pirates and the Cardinals both 2 games back. In fact, if you look at the entire wild card race, the Braves, Mets, and Padres, there's only a half a game between them. So within 2 games, this could all flip flop. So you got to be staring over your shoulder.
Yeah, there's no question. And this is, we're into the nitty gritty now. The Padres are going to be playing a bunch of divisional games, a bunch of National League games down the stretch, as all baseball teams are. So there's a lot of headway that you could make against teams who you're fighting off in the wild card round, or I should say in the wild card playoff chase. And also the Dodgers in division. If you keep doing special things against the Dodgers and you keep winning apart from them, well, who's to say that this division is all knotted up? I mean, Don't get me wrong. You would have to do yeoman's work, and the Dodgers would probably have to help you in order to get that accomplished. But anything is possible when you're talking about athletes. I mean, the Olympics are on. We've seen some special things happen already. This is how it goes in baseball. One team can get hot and really change a lot of minds and a lot of thoughts late in the season. We've seen it time and time again. The Royals, the Washington Nationals have done it. Is it the Padres' turn in the second half to show the rest of the world, the rest of the league, what they're made of? We'll find out. Find out.
Didn't the Diamondbacks get hot about this time last season?
Yeah, the Diamondbacks weren't a great team. They were kind of a middling team. And then I do believe last year they got super hot at the end of the season. I do remember that. And they got themselves to the World Series.
Yeah, so the past 10, Padres have been 8-2. The Diamondbacks 7-3.
There you go.
I mean, it's here we go again.
Look, it is going to be a very interesting finish to the Padres Major League Baseball season. It's also going to be an interesting start to the NFL season. We dip our toes back into the league and a rule change that makes us sad. It's the end of an era. We'll cover that coming up next. It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. But before we run, want to talk to you about Ocean View Dental, Dr. Jordan Colby. You've heard me talk about the state-of-the-art technology that Dr. Jordan Colby has within his office, 3D x-rays. They can get an accurate model of the inside of your mouth. So whatever ailment you're dealing with, they can help you. And they can help you many times get new teeth in 24 hours. One day, one visit, and you're going to leave with a great smile. It could be the most disastrous of dental situations or just a simple cavity that needs to be filled. Dr. Jordan Colby can help you with all those things, and his staff is wonderful. Every single person I've worked with over there has treated me like gold. I mean, from the dental hygienist to the reception at the front desk, when you walk in, they know your name. You feel like you're a part of the family. It's a warm, comfortable environment. And then when you get back there in the dentist chair, it doesn't feel like an appointment. It feels like you're visiting your dentist. And that is one of the most relaxing things you could say about something that a lot of people stress out about. So if you're stressed out about your next dental appointment and you don't want to go, and you don't really love your dentist, and you're just picking one that's close to your house and you haven't done any research, or you got a referral from a buddy who used to work at your office and it turns out he's kind of a flake, and you're just like, why am I going to this dentist? Trust me, call Dr. Jordan Colby. All the information's on the website, oceanviewdental.net. That's oceanviewdental.net.
Hit us up on the talkback mic while you're listening on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll see a little red microphone there on the lower right-hand side. That's the talkback mic. Tap that talkback mic. Send us a 30-second shout out, a message, a Yelp review, anything you'd like to share, and then we'll get you on the radio here. The talkback mic only on the free iHeartRadio app. The Padres win in extra innings yesterday against the Dodgers. They play again tonight at 6:40. John and Jim will break down the action at 3 o'clock here on San Diego Sports 760. This update brought to you by AutoZone. The Padres win in extra innings yesterday against the Dodgers, 6-5. They play again today at 6:40. John and Jim break down the action at 3 o'clock here on San Diego Sports 760. Starting stronger at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. This report sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Padres down early yesterday to the Dodgers 5-0. Matt Waldron gave up all 5 of those runs in the first inning. The Padres did battle back. They were down 5-3 in the bottom of the ninth. Manny Machado hit a second home run of the game. Jackson Farrell Merrill tied the game with a home run of his own. Robert Suarez shut down the Dodgers in the 10th. In the bottom of the 10th, Donovan Solano with the game winner walk-off RBI single. Padres win 6-5. They play again tonight, 6:40. Dylan Cease on the mound. The last time Dylan Cease was on the mound, threw a no-hitter. Use another one of those tonight. Out in Paris at the Olympics, add another record to Simone Biles' collection. Simone Biles anchored and propelled the U.S. women's gymnastics teams to a gold medal in the team final last night at the 2024 Paris Olympics, giving Biles more Olympic medals than any other American gymnast. She has 8 Olympic medals in 3 games, breaking the tie she had with Shannon Miller. Biles already held the record for most golds by an American gymnast, having won 4 at the Rio Olympics. The U.S. now has 26 medals total, but sits 6th overall. It was hard to say in the gold medal count. Last night's gymnastics gold medal brings the gold medal count for the U.S. to 4. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. A very, very special day here. Very special day. We'll explain why as we move along. Fletch out on vacation. He's out gallivanting across multiple states a day, eating cheese, eating pizza, drinking wine, living the dream. Meanwhile, we do have a couple giveaways today. Luke Bryan tickets. He's going to be playing August 8th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, and Foo Fighter tickets August 7th at Petco Park. Deets and seats for both those shows, Ticketmaster.com. Whoa!
Yeah, listen, before we leave this hour, we will absolutely have a pair of tickets for those who are listening to us early in this morning. So if you want to go see the Foos, you want to go see Luke Bryan, little country, little rock, whatever your deal is, just keep listening because we're going to have the first set of tickets before we leave the 6 o'clock hour. Okay, so listen. Certain rule changes feel like they have to happen, right? They're knee-jerk reactions to something that's occurred. And you say, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess, to try something new. I'll give you a perfect example. Years ago, when the Saints and the Rams met in the NFC Championship game, there was that horrible no call on a defensive pass interference against the Saints. So the Rams player, and I forget who it was, a cornerback, absolutely tackled a receiver before the ball got to him. It should have been 15-yard penalty. It could have changed the outcome of the game. It may have been the Saints in the Super Bowl facing the Patriots instead of the Rams. But history's history. We move on. However, what changed the next year is they had pass interference plays be reviewable, which was a disaster. So they changed it back. They said, yeah, that was a bad change. But there are certain changes where you say, why did they change this? So the surprise onside kick, it's officially dead. You are not allowed to onside kick it outside of the fourth quarter. You're not allowed to onside kick it anymore in the NFL unless you are the trailing football team. You're losing. You're not allowed to onside kick it unless you tell the officials beforehand that you are going to onside kick the football.
Huh. That seems like that takes away the sneakiness.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That sucks. Yeah. I don't like this. I think you should let the onside kick rule stay. Was there a lot of injuries with the onside kick rule? What's the point?
Well, so I tried to find reasons like that, like, because my knee-jerk reaction to this rule change was, wow, they are doing, this is silliness that's being masquerading around, a safety, but it really wasn't that. Like, it wasn't that at all. It was kind of like, well, with the new rules that we've implemented with the new kickoff in 2024, I mean, technically, like, an onside kick is kind of like, it's almost like, kicking the ball out of bounds because it's illegal to kick it in certain zones. And it's like, okay, all right. Yeah. But the onside kick is such an important part of the game and has been around for so long that maybe we can find a way to, I don't know, change the rules or bend the rules a little bit. Like, because onside kicks are very obvious. They're very obvious what they're doing when they happen. Like, maybe you can change the rules to say, yeah, you can't like pooch the ball up and try to like land it in a non-catch zone, where it's a shallow kick. Maybe you can say something like, well, that'll still be a flag. Maybe you can say something like the ball must roll off the kicking tee. There can't be a situation where the ball is like lofted a little bit for an onside kick. Yeah, I don't know. You could make a rule change like that if you want to make it more, I don't know, if you want to make an exception to the current rules as they're written. It's strange and it's weird, and it feels like certain decisions that you makes the game, it's like putting cushion pads on all the edges and all the corners, and then
Right.
What you're left with is like this baby-proofed house that you don't really, it doesn't look the same as it used to.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, all of that. And remember when Pat McAfee got his own onside kick recovery?
Yeah.
It was 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
That was cool, man. And it was out of nowhere. And that's what makes the game fun. These little quirky, weird plays, the little trick plays. I don't know why they would want to take this out of the game. I don't get it, other than they feel like it's a time waste. That after the kickoff, if it's an onside kick, maybe it takes more time to get the ball set. I honestly, I don't know. I don't get it.
I will say this. All of this can change back.
Yeah.
It all can. So like if fans are really bothered by this, the NFL is going to react to that. If there are situations late in games where, it bothers us that the opponent who a team is playing against, say you're rooting for the Chargers, right? And they're facing the Raiders and they're trailing by 3 points and they need one more possession and there's only, I don't know, 70 or so seconds left on the clock. They want an onside. So they go through all of the proper channels and they say, yoo-hoo, hello, everybody in the building, we're going to onside kick now. And then you go ahead and you try, and obviously the Raiders stop you because they know exactly what's happening. And maybe if that happens enough this season by coincidence, maybe all of a sudden we have a situation where the NFL changes their mind on it. The NFL has done that before. Again, see the details of the change to the pass interference review change. Like that changed in 1 year and it went back. And by the way, this is a 1-year experiment with the new kickoff formation that the NFL is trying. They said in 2025, if this doesn't look good in 2024, we will change back or we will amend the rules in 2025.
That's cool. I mean, I look, I guess if you're trying to figure out how to make the game better year after year, that's cool. Part of the reason that you need the game to be better is you are making it so quarterback friendly. And
Yeah.
I mean, so you have to have some other fun items in the game if you're not going to allow some of the hitting to occur or tackling to occur.
It feels to me, and maybe this is just how it rattles around in my skull. It feels to me like you're changing things that nobody's asking for.
Right.
And it's kind of like, okay, maybe this is a small change, right? In the grand scheme of things, like it comes up however many, like less than 1% of the kickoffs throughout the year are onside kicks. I get it. But if you change too many of those little things, it's almost like I forget the name of the ship, but it's an old philosophy thought experiment.
Diversity.
Well, no, the ship's name is Diversity.
It was an old wooden ship.
If you take a ship from port and you have enough lumber on the ship to change every plank before it returns home to harbor, are you on the same ship? Like, is that the same boat you left on? That's my question about the NFL. Like, we're obviously out in deep water now. The league's been around since the 70s, but when it left port in the 70s, this was a physical, violent, fast-paced game that people were, paying attention to, and it was competing against some of the, boxing at that time was a lot more popular. Baseball was America's game. Like there were a lot. It has now taken center stage. But is it going to return back to port the same ship? That's the problem. Is you change one thing, you change another thing, you change this, you change that. Before you know it, is it the same boat you left with? I don't know.
Well, and can it be though? Can it be the same boat you left with? I mean, the athletes are so much more physical now than they were when the NFL first started. When the NFL first started, it was like the iron workers who were good at catching and hitting came down to play NFL. And now, I mean, they're physically fit specimens like yourself, Rich.
Well, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that actually is a perfect segue to something that we need to get to. Actually, on the other side, we're going to talk about what really stands out in the Olympics, and I mean really stands out. That's in a few minutes, but before we do that, want to talk to you about, that's right, I am in the best shape of my life. I look like I could probably play a couple of downs right now.
Yeah. In fact, there was people here in the building calling for it. Cat Fisher.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Cat Fisher, who's been helping out on the Classic Rock Show, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch over on 101.5 KGB in the afternoons. She was trying to recruit me into her flag football league. And I told her, Kat, if we accidentally run into each other, it's going to look like a yard sale. You're going to have like arms out on, blankets. There's going to be a knee on the sideline. It's going to be bad news for you. She's like, well, it's flag football. You don't tackle anyone. I was like, I'm talking about an accidental collision. Anyways.
Right. Like you do with this door in the studio.
Yeah. That door, the hinges are I can feel them. They're wobbling.
Yes.
Yes. They are wobbling. That we will not have a door pretty soon here.
But that's because of pure muscle, not because of fat.
No, yeah. My big problem before was I was just a big fat fatty. I was a fatty boom batty. I was a rotunda fella. I really I didn't push away any snacks. You could say I was a snacker, and you would be right. The problem was I had a weight problem. And I needed a weight solution. And
now you're a snack.
And now, I went from snacker to snack. And it was all because of Wayne and Chloe at sdfatloss.com. I know we joke around a lot about this, but we are pretty thrilled with the results that we received from working with Wayne and Chloe at sdfatloss.com. If you have any weight you need to lose, take it from us, who lost combined over 100 pounds as a show. I lost over 35 pounds. TD's down over 30. Fletch, he's down over 40 pounds and counting, because there are times where he'll get on a scale at a doctor's office and be like, oh my gosh, I lost 4 more pounds. It just works. And it's because you change your lifestyle. You're not doing anything gimmicky. There's no fad diets. There's no injections. There's no meal replacement shakes. There's no counting points or calories. You're not even going to have to exercise to lose the weight. when you start getting to the maintaining phase, you realize, oh, this is a livable diet. This is a livable lifestyle. And this is something that I can do, eating real foods instead of, gross things that are being prescribed to you, basically. It's an incredible plan. Wayne and Chloe have been wonderful shepherds for us, keeping us, in the flock, so to speak. So if you're looking to lose some pounds, sdfatloss.com is the website to go to. Just mention the show when you sign up, when you talk to Wayne and Chloe. You say Big Rich, TD, and Fletch sent me here. You're going to save $200 on your subscription. That's sdfatloss.com, sdfatloss.com. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, huge announcement coming up later today in the show day. We have some I mean, major show news. Major news for our station here at San Diego Sports 760. And let's just put it this way. There's going to be a couple of chairs moving on the deck over here on this big boat we have in iHeart San Diego. So we are thrilled to make that announcement. And we're going to have a very special guest coming up, a mystery guest, if you will, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour to help us with that announcement. So we are very excited. We are thrilled, in fact, to make this announcement. So anybody who's listening right now, if you are tuning in for Foo Fighters tickets or Luke Bryan tickets, we're going to give away one of those pairs here in just about 5 minutes. If you're listening for the big announcement, just keep listening. We will have little, maybe we'll even have a couple little clues in the
Easter egg hunt.
Well, because Kevin Acey's going to join us at 7:30, and he's going to be exhausted and delirious because I believe he didn't get to sleep until like 4:30 in the morning last night.
He was just out partying. Yeah, he was getting hammered.
He was at like I think he was at the Hard Rock Casino Hotel nightclub last night downtown in the Gaslamp.
I knew it.
He was raving again.
Yeah,
we keep telling Acey.
What happens?
You know,
what happens?
Yeah, but he's gonna sleep in a construction site downtown, and then his phone's gonna ring from the studio. We're gonna be calling him. He's like, "Where am I? Oh no, it happened again. Was it a full moon last night?" So yeah. Kevin will join us in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll talk to him about all the recent moves the Padres made, and then how about that game last night, a 6-5 victory where the Dodgers scored every single run in the first inning. And the Padres hung tough and found a way to walk it off in the 10th. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to give you some NFL camp updates, taking a closer look at the young QBs out there. But before we do that, we do have the Olympics going on in Paris. Have you seen Victor Wembanyama against some of the teams he's playing against?
He's a standout. He's a standout or a stand-up, one of the two. He's considerably taller than some of the other teams. Team France, which Wemby's on, they were playing, was it Japan?
Japan.
He's 2 feet taller than some of the Japan players.
They're like international basketball Twitter account FIBA put out a picture of Wembanyama waiting patiently in the paint for the basketball. And there is a Japanese player trying his hardest to defend, and he is hugging his right quadricep.
Yeah, that is correct. That's correct.
He's hugging his upper leg. Wembanyama is a full, the FIBA account says a full 55 centimeters taller.
Which I was just looking that up. It says that's just under 22 inches.
Oh my gosh. So there's a 2-foot height difference between basketball players.
By the way, so his arms are probably a foot longer than theirs. So that means if he stuck his arm up in the air, well, if he sticks his arm, that 3 feet plus taller. I mean, it's incredible.
So we were talking yesterday about like, hey, is there any sport or competition or anything in particular that you really want to tune into? I now really desperately need to see Team France against a team where the height is mismatched like this between Wembanyama and some of these other players, because it's wonderful.
It's fantastic.
And it's the only time you're going to see it. Well, until I guess 4 years from now when the summer games return, because you're not going to see a height disparity like this in the NBA. I promise you that.
No. But I didn't see what the final score was.
Yeah, I missed the final score on that one as well.
Because it seems like it should have been 1,000-0.
Look, it sounds like we're joking, but if you see this picture, and so I defy you to find it. It is the most, we should retweet it from the Big Rich TD Fletch account. This way people can take a look at it. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. Yeah, look, when you have a player like Victor Wembanyama on the court, obviously you're not trying to go ahead.
It was only 94-90.
You've got to be kidding me.
What? How could that be possible?
You've got to be kidding me. It doesn't make sense.
No.
What are these? Is Team Japan just draining threes every possession?
They're so fast.
Maybe because Wembanyama's so tall, he can't really defend because he's like looking out. He's like, I'm not sure if that's a play. Oh, he scored again.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, like we said, we're going to get to some NFL talk. Before we run, though, at exactly 6:57, that's 6:57, if you want to see Luke Bryan in Chula Vista playing the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, you're going to have to call in at 6:57 on the nose at 877-767-4760. Ticketmaster.com for details and seats if you don't win these tickets, or call at exactly 6:57 and be caller number 5 at 877-767-4760. We were just talking about all the fun happening out in Paris. Now let's get a medal update right now. Team USA is in the lead with 27 overall medals. Team France, the host country, just behind them with 2 medals overall, or 21 medals overall. Third place, it's Great Britain now, who's snuck into the top medal rankings, taking home 17 medals. U.S. has only added 1 gold since the beginning of the week. They were stuck at 3 for a while. China in the lead in the gold race with 8. Japan just behind them with 7. Then there's a logjam in third place. You got France, Great Britain, Australia, all tied for third. 5 for South Korea. The United States stands alone in 5th place with 4 gold medals overall. This medal update is brought to you by Islands. Oh, their fine burgers and drinks. Every time I go to the Islands, I celebrate, because you're just whisked away into a paradise, a beachy vibe, delicious food offerings, a vast menu that will certainly dazzle every palate at your table. When I go to Islands, I know the burgers are great, and I trust me, it's a rotating list of my favorites. I've tried them all, and that's what I do. I'm like, which one haven't had in a while, and I get that one. I know I talk about the Mai Tais, which are delicious. I talk about the Sunny Blonde Ale. It's my favorite beer that they offer, and they put in the ice cold mugs. I mean, straight out of the freezer. It's one of those things. It's like, you go to your like uncle's house and he's got that beer fridge, but right next to the beer fridge, he's got the freezer for the ice cold mugs.
Come on.
And then he just, and then look. It's got that nice foamy head on top.
Yeah. And it sits on the table, and you can see like a chunk of ice just start to slide down the glass as it hits the table.
Oh my God.
It leaves that trail down the glass where it makes it real clear, and you can see right through that Sunny Blonde Ale.
Yeah, and it's got that frigid ring of water that's dripped down. And you know what? You may say I should wipe that up because I don't want to leave a little ring stain on the hardwood coffee table. And then you say, nah.
Is Islands open right now?
You know what? We should probably head over to Islands, because that's another reason why I love them. But it's those fresh cut fries. Oh, they're perfectly seasoned, dusted, coated deliciousness. They're salty, yet they have a little bit of spice to them. I love them so much. Anyways, look, if you want to get to their happy hour where they have an expansive menu of specials, 3 to 6:30 p.m. every single day. I've gone to many of those. They're all awesome. Islands, your fine burgers and drinks, a local paradise. Get to one today.
This update brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Padres win in extra innings last night, 6-5 over the Dodgers. They play again today at 6:40. John and Jim break everything down starting at 3 o'clock here on San Diego Sports 760. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy. This update brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Padres win in extra innings last night, 6-5 over the Dodgers. They play again today at 6:40 out at Petco Park. John and Jim will break everything down starting at 3 o'clock here on San Diego Sports 760. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial, auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com. This update brought to you by Duthie Power Services, the generator experts. Padres, they were down 5-0 early to the Dodgers last night. Matt Waldron gave up all 5 of those runs in the first, but Padres battled back. Matt Waldron stayed in. He doesn't give up any more runs because he knew he couldn't. Padres end up winning 6-5 in extra innings. Manny Machado had 2 home runs. Robert Suarez dominated on the mound in extra innings. But like I said, bottom of the 10th, it was Donovan Solano with the game winner walk-off RBI single. They play again tonight at 6:40. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. The trade deadline came and went yesterday. Padres did make one more move before time expired. They acquired closer Tanner Scott and fellow reliever Brian Honig from the Marlins. Why have SoCal businesses relied on the generator experts at Duthie Power for nearly 60 years? Because Duthie Power offers safety and quality assurance, puts your emergency backup power in the hands of a reliable partner at DuthiePower.com. DUTHIE Power.com.
Yeah. Let's do it. Happy Wednesday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. Happy hump day to everyone out there listening.
Mike.
So we have it. We have the announcement. We are just 55 minutes away from unveiling to you what our announcement is. We have a special guest joining the show. He'll help us with the announcement. Before our secret guest, we will be joined by Kevin Acee this hour at 7:30. We're going to call him. He's going to jump on the show. He's going to try to guess what the announcement is. I asked him, I was texting with Kevin last night during the Padres game or just after. And I was saying, yeah. I was like, I know normally we have you in the 8 o'clock hour. We're going to need you in the 7 because we have a really big show day. You know, I wouldn't do it unless I needed to. I was like, but we have a very special announcement in the 8 o'clock hour, and I want you to try to guess what it is. And he just went, oh, you're not going to want me to do that. I'm going to be on 3 hours sleep. I'm like, no, that's the reason why I want you to do it. So looking forward to our chat with Kevin Acee. He's going to be slap happy in a delirious stupor after being up until 4:30 in the morning, scribing about the heroic Padres taking home the victory in walk-off fashion off the bat of Donovan Solano in the 10th inning. Unbelievable comeback win for the Padres against the Dodgers. But before we get back to that, and we will with Kevin Acee, we've got to talk about these new quarterbacks in new places around the NFL. Now, it's not just drafted rookies. Jaden Daniels, obviously Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and Bo Nix, all taken in. Oh, and Michael Penix Jr., all taken within the first 12 picks of the first round of the NFL draft. But also Kirk Cousins joins Michael Penix Jr. in Atlanta as the presumed starter there. He signed as a free agent with the Falcons after leaving Minnesota. You have the situation in Pittsburgh where they moved on from a triumvirate of awfulness at quarterback, I guess you could call it, to bring in a two-headed monster now between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's better. I think both of those quarterbacks are a definite upgrade. We'll see who is the starter there. Pittsburgh could be a little surprising.
Yeah, and then you look at a team like the Browns, who has just been so weird, honestly, with Deshaun Watson. Like, he basically feels like a new quarterback because every year he's hurt. Joe Burrow even coming back to the fold in Cincinnati.
Deshaun Watson was out on a mystery illness for weeks last season.
He had that shoulder, and he had a lot of weird stuff happen. It's been strange since the Browns gave him all that money. He has not earned his contract with Cleveland, and the fans know it. Everybody who watches the game knows it. And then he was signed to that contract on the heels of a really, really awful off the field alleged incident. So I digress there to just say there's going to be a lot of newness, or what feels new, around the NFL at the most important position. Is there a team or teams that you have spotlighted, TD, where you say to yourself, yeah, the new quarterback is going to take them much, much farther than they were the year before?
Well, I guess you have to look at the Bears and Caleb Williams. I mean, there's just some excitement level there. He's pretty magical, or at least he was. We'll see what he's like in the pro level. If Caleb Williams performs like we've watched Caleb Williams perform, how could the Bears not upgrade?
Yeah, the Bears needed to.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
I mean, it just wasn't a fit last year.
No. Look, what's crazy about the Bears is Justin Fields for a couple of years. I think that there was a huge, because of his potential, there was a huge push behind him. Like, okay, he can be the guy. And even at the end of last year, if you remember, before he was traded this offseason, there were a lot of people, and I was kind of in this camp, who said you could go after Caleb Williams, you could do that, or you could stick with Justin Fields, who finally looked like a competent starter down the stretch of the season for Chicago.
Justin Fields would come into play for like a resume. I mean, it was like it was out there on the field, so there could be some trade value in him. Otherwise, the Bears just didn't use him.
And then I had somebody say to me during this time period, and I forget who it was. It wasn't anybody in this building, but I just remember having a conversation. It might have been on Countdown to Kickoff over the weekend. One of these guys was like, "No, listen to me. When it comes to Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, you get Caleb Williams. We already know what Justin Fields is at the NFL level." I'm like, "No, the hell we don't." I mean, the guy, look, he was injured at times, which didn't take him off the field the majority of the time he was with Chicago, but there were issues there, and I get it. And then there was poor play to start his career with the Bears, and I get that too. But as they improved the team around him, so did he improve. And then toward the end of his run with the Bears last season, like I said, he started emerging as a competent starter. So if he does get an opportunity to start for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is there going to be a little bit of regret with Chicago where they're looking over the fence and saying that could have been us? Because Russell Wilson went down with a calf last week and he stepped in for him. I don't know if he still has the starting job or not. I haven't checked in on Steelers camp in a little bit, but the fact of the matter is you have a player who's talented enough to start in this league. We know that. He's backing up a guy who's had a couple rough seasons in Denver right now in Pittsburgh. And Caleb Williams, he could come in and he's surrounded by talent now too, just like Justin Fields was. But if it doesn't look as good, or if Justin Fields is playing better, will Chicago Bears fans start having buyer's remorse?
Well, of course they will. Of course they will. I mean, you'll see that instantaneously. How about Kirk Cousins out in Atlanta?
See, that's my team. I think Atlanta's going to have a huge turnaround. I think Atlanta is one of those teams, like the Steelers, frankly, who were a quarterback away, like the New York Jets, frankly, who were a quarterback away from being a special team. I think the Atlanta defense is probably underrated. They just signed a defensive-minded head coach. And then you look at that offense, and they've got some players. Yeah. Bijan Robinson and Drake London, and they've got talent. They've got talent everywhere you look on that team. They just haven't been able to put it together because they haven't had a competent quarterback since they've built up that offense and, frankly, that defense.
Yeah, I think Atlanta's going to be a pretty fun watch. You talk about being a quarterback away. Look at the Texans last season. I mean, the Texans were supposed to be a throwaway, and CJ Stroud comes on board and makes that team viable. I mean, they're in the playoffs. So I'm not that that's a new quarterback coming to this season, but I am excited to see what the Texans do this year.
Yeah, I am too. I think in year two, you look at what CJ Stroud, and by the way, that's a perfect example of what we're talking about. When you have a player who enters the fold and he has talent and ability at this level, which is hard to do as a rookie. But when you have talent, obviously you're going to look like a better team. You're going to look like a better coach than you would be without him. And that's kind of my point. Like Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons were an afterthought in this league. Kirk Cousins goes down there. He could turn them into a potential division winner in the NFC South. You look at a team like the New York Jets, 7 wins last year. It looked like a disaster. Now they're and you know how the New York media is. The way the Jets are being covered this offseason or during training camp, you would assume that everybody hates each other because every single time Aaron Rodgers gives a cross look to a receiver or there's a little bit of a conversation happening between he and another one of his teammates, it's like the sky's falling out there in New York. Trust me, it's not. Football's a violent game. Sometimes you have harsh conversations and then you figure things out and you move on. The Jets are a quarterback away. There's a lot of teams that could have that turnaround we saw for the Texans, and all it takes is a special player at that position.
Yeah, people want drama. People want drama. That's what you want to write about. So if they can find some storyline somewhere, that's, of course, what they're going to try to jump on and try to find some fissure. You mentioned Jaden Daniels. I mean, again, how is that not an upgrade out in Washington?
Yeah. Jaden Daniels Well, it depends, right?
Well, yeah, maybe it falls apart.
Because you look at Bryce Young, who was a first overall draft pick last year, and you say to yourself, well, he struggled. Okay. You look at CJ Stroud, who was a second overall draft pick this year or last year, and he had success. Now, it's not guaranteed that Caleb Williams is going to have success or Jaden Daniels is going to have success because they were the first and second, respectively, taken in the NFL draft. But a lot is staked on Jaden Daniels being the guy. Now, will he? Shoot, your guess is as good as mine. But what I will say is the Washington Commanders, again, another team kind of like the Falcons, who have a lot of good players around that offense, who felt like they were a quarterback away from making that thing really work. The other problem with the Commanders is the fact that their ownership was awful. Dan Snyder, I mean, he basically got ousted by the rest of the owners in the NFL because the scene was getting too hot for them. They were like, Dan, we're not all great guys or gals here, but you're the worst of the bunch. So I'm sorry, but you've been voted off the island. And so he had to sell.
I was curious how many wins they had last year. I could not remember. 4. I mean, they're going to have more than 4 wins this season.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
I wonder what Vegas has them at. I would guess probably something like 5.5, 6.5, something around there.
Which I'd probably still take the over.
I think I would too.
The Giants are going to fall apart.
I do too. Yeah, the Giants. And by the way, that's a team who very easily, as we saw on, OTA's version of Hard Knocks, Hard Knocks off season, I guess we'll call it. The Giants were kicking the tires on a lot of quarterbacks. The Giants were legitimately looking at trading with New England to try to take Drake May with the 3rd overall draft pick, or assuming that's who would be left at 3rd, which it ended up being for the Patriots.
Which makes sense because they're hardly paying their quarterback now. Yeah. Danny Dimes got broke off after a fantastic 2022 season.
Yeah.
And then 2023 looked like the old Danny Dimes again. I mean, just the wheels came off.
So listen, I don't know which of these, and nobody does. Trust me when I tell you, there's going to be NFL analysts out the wazoo this offseason telling you why they think this quarterback is going to have a better year than that quarterback. Here's what I know. I know the Falcons are going to be much better with Captain Kirk. I know it. They aren't going to be a bottom dweller in their division. I think that the Falcons win their division. The Jets are going to be much better with Aaron Rodgers than they were with a revolving cast that included Zach Wilson last year. They're not going to be a 7-win team if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy.
Do the Jets win that division? You got the Bills, the Dolphins. One other team I can't remember.
The Bills, Dolphins, Patriots.
I was kidding.
Okay. There's a chance. Here's
a great chance.
And I wouldn't say a great chance. I mean,
if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, this Jets team is pretty stacked.
Yeah, okay. Yes, but Aaron Rodgers, before the injury, was coming off one of his worst seasons as a quarterback with the Green Bay Packers. So I believe in his talent. I want to be on the record. I agree with you. Winning division will be difficult. Could they be a double-digit win team this year? Yeah. Could they be a wild card team? Yeah. They will be much better than they were last year. That's my opinion.
If you look at that division, though, with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, are the Jets right now, do they look better on paper than the Bills?
The Jets, to me, right now, on paper, do they look better than the Bills? No, probably not. But I'll tell you what, ask me after 4 games, ask me at the midseason point. And it really comes down to that one position. I know what I'm getting now with Josh Allen. I'm not 100% sure what I'm getting with Aaron Rodgers. I think I know what I'm getting. And by the way, if he does stay healthy and he delivers on the promise of being a Super Bowl caliber quarterback in New York, I think the Jets are going to be extremely pleased. They may still not win the division, but they'll be extremely pleased with where they rank as the season ends. So I think those two teams are going to be vastly better. I think the Commanders. I know there's Bo Nix and all the nice things that Sean Payton's saying about him out in Denver. And I've heard some of the whispers from Chicago that Caleb Williams figuring it out. And I've heard that Drake May is way better than people expect him to be, even though he was the 3rd off the board. There was a lot of people saying, well, he kind of fell to the Patriots. It wasn't who they wanted. But I'm hearing good things about him. Jaden Daniels, his type of play translates immediately to the NFL. So I think the Commanders have a good shot of having a big turnaround. We got morning monologues coming up in just a moment. Before we get to those, we have a pair of tickets to the Foo Fighters August 7th show at Petco Park. Deets and seats at Ticketmaster.com. If you want to win those tickets, you need to keep listening to our voices here for the next 6 minutes. We're going to tell you exactly when to call to win those. But first, this.
I don't know where the music is, so this is what you got.
You nailed it. All right, TD, what's on your mind?
Well, listen, like we said, a very special day today. I just want to say thanks. Thanks to everyone as we near closer to this special announcement. Listen, you have, as a listener, done a lot for us, and we appreciate everyone, the hangers, the bangers, the roadies, the dogs, everyone in the fraternity, what are we calling it?
Yeah.
Listen, love you guys immensely. Thank you. That's it. I mean, that's this. It'll make more sense here as we move along in the next 40 minutes. You're gonna understand why I'm saying thank you. A very big deal, but hats off. Thank you very much. Also, Fletch, who's on vacation, enjoying an immense amount of cheese in Wisconsin. Love you, buddy. Rich, love you, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is cool. It's been a fun ride, and the ride continues. The ride continues, and we'll explain.
Yeah. We have a lot of explaining to do. We've been gassing up this announcement here for a little bit. We'll get to that in a second. I don't think I'm ready to talk about anything yet, but my morning monologue today, you're thanking everybody. I'm going to say no thank you. I'm going to say no thank you to certain Olympic events. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I guess I think fencing is pretty cool. Like, it's basically sword fighting, but it's so weirdly structured. Like, you're only allowed to stay on this, like, thin strip of land, and then you can barely see the little swords they use. What? And then it's over before it started.
Why do they have a cable attached to them?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. Also, I'm like, who invented all the rules? Like, is that how they did it in the 1920s?
Right.
They tied people to cables?
In my head, if you have a cable attached to you, you should be able to jump down to another level and just be suspended in the air.
And just continue sword fighting?
Yes, absolutely.
What? Okay, fencing, tell me this wouldn't be cooler. Fencing would be cooler if you were in just a ring, like almost how they do those bare knuckle fighting matches, like a pit with slanted walls where there's no escaping. And I'm not saying you have to fight to the death, because I'm not looking to see blood. We don't need to see blood, but you have them fencing in this like kind of no holds barred. Maybe you're allowed to throw a punch or two. I don't know.
I'm in.
Fencing to me is just one of those sports where I've never been enthusiastic about it anytime I've watched it.
What if it's not fencing? Maybe you keep fencing for the purists, and then we bring in something like ninjaism, and now so it's two ninjas going at it, and there's swords, there's stars, obviously, that they have to throw at one another. But I feel like that would be a fun sport. They could hide. I mean, they're ninjas.
Yeah. Race walking, that one can go.
Wait, there's race walking?
I'm fairly certain. What else is there?
I mean, are we winning race walking?
Artistic swimming. Are you into sailing at all?
No, not really.
There's a lot. Look, don't get me wrong. I think some of these athletic endeavors are pretty cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like rowing, I think I can get into, but overall, unless it's for a gold medal.
Did you watch any of the canoeing?
See, I'm not really big into like watching boats race.
Okay,
I don't really get it.
So they have a man-made river, essentially. A guy in a canoe, and I guess the difference between the canoe and a kayak, besides the length of the thing, a kayak, the paddle is two-sided. The canoe is just one-sided. So, but I was exhausted just watching this for a minute. I mean, they have to go upriver and downriver and try to get through this slalom. It's kind of cool, but I wasn't really that into it.
Yeah, see, that's like sport climbing seems like something I would get very into. Breakdancing seems like something I'll watch. There are some of these new sports that kind of are, I don't know, they're catching my eye and something that when they're on, I will sit down and watch. But like judo, especially after watching mixed martial arts now, it almost feels like, again, like somebody should probably get punched or thrown in a headlock or something.
Right. Breakdancing, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bummed because it was more dance gymnastics than a piece of cardboard on the ground, someone waiting to jump in. Yeah, I'm gonna go, and then they jump in, they do a head spin, and they flip around on their back. It was. I mean, it takes athleticism, but I was wanting like a backstreet, back alley.
I thought they were going to let them dress cool. Also,
yeah,
they did not.
No,
yeah, like let them show up in like a pair of Nike Dunks wearing cargo jeans.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Wearing like an unironic, like political T-shirt or something like that.
1,000%.
I don't know. Look, the Olympics overall, I've been thoroughly entertained every summer. I find captivating storylines to follow. I mentioned it before.
Every fourth summer.
Every fourth summer. Every time the Summer Olympics are on. Yeah, because Winter Olympics, by the way, it gets weirder. It gets more obscure. It's like all of a sudden you see a guy coming down a ski slope, and then like he looks like a silver bullet with big, the ski jump.
The ski jump, which looks scary as all get out.
Dude, yeah, I would never, ever do that.
They come down the ramp at about 2,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, not interested. But yeah, so while you're thanking everybody, I'm saying no thank you to many of the games, many of the events over at the Summer Olympics. But for the most part, I'm in. Oh, I was about to mention, one of the storylines that I'm following is Chase Buttinger, who's a former NBA player turned beach volleyball player. So he was a pro for a long time on the hardwood, and now he's taking the sand for Team USA. He's like one of the best AVP pros, and he made the qualifiers. He's out there in Paris.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, incredible athlete. People used to look at me and go, is he an athlete? And if he's an athlete, is he like a sumo wrestler? Because the guy is huge. And I said, no, that hurts my feelings. And then Wayne and Chloe over at SDFatLoss.com stepped in and they said, hey, we're going to help you get down to a better playing weight here. In fact, we're going to help you lose 20 to 30 pounds in 8 weeks' time. A lot of weight, really, really fast. That's what they promised. I said, sure, sign me up. Not sure I believe that, but I'll follow along with what you have to say. I did, and I lost 31 pounds in 8 weeks' time. It works. It absolutely works. And then the beauty of it is you don't gain the weight back after you stop the program. You go into this maintenance phase where they'll take care of you and make sure that you keep that weight off. So do yourself a favor. You're looking to get kickstarted. You're looking to jumpstart some weight loss, and you want to lose weight real quick, but you don't want to do one of these fad diets because let's be honest, the fad diets, you may drop some pounds, but as soon as you stop, you gain the weight back, right? You gain the weight right back and then some. Or maybe one of these injection fad diets where you have no idea what you're injecting to your body, but same thing. You stop doing the injections, which are just appetite suppressants, and then you gain the weight right back. Don't mess around with that. Do it the healthy way. Do it the healthy way. Add some years to your life. You're going to sleep better. You're going to feel better. The aches and pains will go away. SDFatLoss.com. That's where you go. You're going to schedule a free consultation. They'll walk you through what to expect. And then when you sign up, make sure you mention us here, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, and you're going to save yourself $200 at SDFatLoss.com. Look, no better way to kick things off here in August than SDFatLoss.com. Also, we got Foo Fighter tickets, okay? Foo Fighter tickets right now. Caller number 5. Actually, not right now. Whoa. Not right now. Let's give them 2 minutes. 7:29. That way, those listening on the free iHeartRadio app have a shot at Foo Fighter tickets. 877-767-4760. Caller number 5. You are going to go see the Foo Fighters at Petco Park, August 7th. Deets and seats at Ticketmaster.com, or caller number 5 is going to go. Coming up next, let's talk some Padres with our Padres insider and best friend in the whole wide world, Mr. Kevin Acee. This report brought to you by Discover. The Padres win in extra innings last night, 6-5. They were down early 5-0, but they battled back in the 10th. It was Donovan Solano with the game winner walk-off RBI single. They play again tonight at 6:40. Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. Last time he was on the mound, pitched a no-hitter, so look for that to happen again. Out in Paris at the Olympics, another record to Simone Biles for her collection there. Simone Biles anchored and propelled the U.S. women's gymnastics team to a gold medal in the team final last night at the 2024 Paris Olympics, giving Biles more Olympic medals than any other American gymnast. She now has 8 medals total. The U.S. has 26 medals total on the game, but they do sit in 5th overall in the gold medal count. Last night's gymnastic gold brings them to 4 total. Time with family, laughs, and friends, and cash back. Discover's got you covered on the last one. That's because Discover doubles all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with cash back match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
So Kevin Acee joining us in just a few moments here. Our Padres insider, our best friend here on San Diego Sports 760. Also gave away those Luke Bryan tickets and the Foo Fighter tickets because we got to make room for a very special secret guest who's going to be coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. That secret guest is going to be unveiling a big announcement, or helping us unveil a big announcement here on San Diego Sports 760. Things are going to change, right? We're going to have a very different looking station in just a little bit here. We're going to have a very different looking sound to San Diego Sports 760 in just a little bit. And you're going to love it. I know you will. So, but we're very excited to make that announcement. But joining us right now and brought to you by Quidel Ortho is Kevin Acee for the Padres Report. So Kevin Acee, we were texting last night, and I was just alluding to this, an enormous announcement coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. I also imbued our listeners with the knowledge that you were up very, very late last night into the early hours this morning, so you're on very limited sleep. If you were to guess what our giant announcement was this morning, like what would be your top of mind guess? What would you think we were going to announce?
Well, I mean, I know what it is, so I don't think I should say, but I'll make some guesses that are, not really the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah. Are you going back in the NFL? Is this the announcement?
It's actually the Lingerie Football League.
Yeah, the LFL. And yeah. No, incorrect. I'm not joining any professional football league.
No? Okay. Is it going to be Big Rich, TD, Fletch, and Hacksaw?
Ooh.
Actually, now we
know.
might have to get back to the drawing board. All of a sudden, you're saying things
around here,
making my mustache twitch. Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And okay, but I'm not going to lead you on. No, that's not the announcement.
Kevin, the Padres, meanwhile, in fuego, on fire.
Yeah, and I'm bummed. I was trying to trick you, telling you I knew what it is. I don't know what it is. I thought you guys would just tell me. Yeah.
Well, you'll find out at 8 o'clock.
Just like us.
I'll be asleep at 8 o'clock. But I'll probably wake up because there'll be like a disturbance in the force. This thing's gonna be so freaking big. That it'll just reverberate like a earthquake.
The world will stop for maybe 0.2 of a second.
It's gonna be like that CrowdStrike outage. Like they're going to ground all flights for like 45 minutes. It's going to be weird, Kevin. It's going to be weird. The world's going to be different.
Is that all that happened? Wow, 45 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was, can't believe.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
The Padres are, they're, I would say like, it's like out of nowhere, but it's not. Like I think they've been playing well, if I've said that. That they needed a run like this to kind of establish that this is who they are. Now, I'm not saying this is going to continue like at this rate, because it basically does it for very many teams, but that it's possible. I think if you were paying attention, you knew that it was. Now, without Fernando Tatis Jr., with 3.5 starting pitchers. Maybe that's remarkable. I think they're a decent team.
Yeah, I think they're a decent team too. And I think they're probably more decent after the trade deadline. So they bring in Jason Adam over the weekend, and then the new additions right up against the trade deadline. Overall, how do you think the Padres did in terms of what they sent away and what they received in return in their bullpen?
Yeah, now, the reason that I think that they did okay, or a part of the reason, and it was creative. It was, I think, not a lot of people saw it coming, that they would pivot this way. But they identified that it was too rich a market for the starting pitching, and that, hey, with what we've got here, as long as we get Joe Musgrove back, having a good strong bullpen for the playoffs, that'll be the way to go. But I also call it a good return, because I'm going to judge it on what I can judge it on, which is theoretically what established major league players can do, versus like being upset that a team sent away a bunch of prospects that we don't have any idea how these guys are going to do. And we can talk about, so let's say, for instance, they yesterday got Tanner Scott and Brian Hoeing from the Marlins. Now, Tanner Scott, an all-star closer who has been pretty good here for the past 3 years, and Brian Hoeing, who is a guy who's 26. He's going to be under contract, or he's under control through 2028. And you know what? He may end up being a pretty good middle reliever, or a guy give you some spot starts. Okay, and what did you give up for him? Now, you look at the numbers and you go, oh no, you gave up the number 1 pitching prospect in Robbie Snelling, the number 2 pitching prospect in Adam Mazier, the number 3 position prospect in Graham Pauley, and then a kid, Jay Bashirs, I think it's Jay, but it's Bashirs, kid who's 19, I think, and down in Single A. And Graham Pauley was here and hasn't been back up, and struck out a lot, and hasn't done well in AAA. So I don't care what his prospect ranking is. Adam Mazier was here, had an 8 ERA. I don't care what his prospect ranking was. And Robbie Snelling, he's a prospect. So whatever. So look, I think they did what they needed to do to win in a time when they really need to make the playoffs and do well.
Kevin, looking at Dylan Cease, is there anything that when you look at him right now, any reason why you would believe he would not throw a no-hitter again tonight?
It's a great question.
I can't think of one. He is not allowed a run in 3 starts. He's only allowed 2 hits in that span. We're talking about historically good, and as we know, that just doesn't change. So absolutely, get your tickets, go out there, another record-breaking crowd, and there will be another no-hitter tonight. Absolutely.
You know what? I think, look, when it rains, it pours. And I know there have only been 380 something no-hitters, but we haven't had a perfect game yet. So why not now, Kev? All I'm saying is, why are we settling all of a sudden? Well, we've seen 2 of these in the last 4 years. Why not a perfect game? Does Dylan Cease have the goods?
Actually, Dylan Cease does walk a fair amount of people, so I'll go ahead and say that I think it's 357. That you're probably going to see the 358. As long as someone else doesn't throw a no hitter, over on the East Coast before that, because obviously that could happen. It's almost probable at this point. But yeah, I would say that's pretty much guarantee.
Have you come up with any new nicknames for Jason Adam, Tanner Scott, Brian Hoeing? Do you need us to help after the trade deadline with these acquisitions to strengthen the bullpen? Do we need to help you strengthen your nickname game like we did with Jackson Farrell Merrill? Yeah. Is that something you want us to maybe investigate a little bit deeper?
Yeah, probably. That is not one of the things that I did. It was there on my list, but I'm sorry, that's not something I did. And you guys are just so good at it, as I've said many times.
Yeah. And Kevin, you have locker room access. If we got you some S's, could you put them at the end of Jason Adams' name? I just feel like Adams, Rich and I were talking about this. It just seems like it flows better.
Do you notice that the other guy has two first names too?
Tanner Scott.
Yeah.
Like I'm a mess right now because
Yeah.
I think Adam Scott pitches for this team, and like that's what my brain keeps telling me. I mean, first names for some reason. Two first names is like a stumbling block for me, and now you just added two relievers who I'm not totally familiar with, and are not just two guys of the same role, but like they play a similar role within that role. And it's just, I see the potential for disaster.
Well,
so that's where I will gladly do that. Like petition him. Seems like a nice guy. Hey, I know you've been doing this a long time, probably like an ancestral thing, but could you, I get these two guys that I know, they made a big announcement today and they'd like to add an S.
Yeah. You know what I just got out of that, Rich, is that Jason Adams is into ancestral role play.
That's
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I'm reading between the lines
Don't
myself.
say that.
Yeah,
What?
no. Well,
Jason Adam.
wait, well,
Adam.
we didn't say you did.
Yeah.
We're just
Jason Adam is.
No,
Okay.
I
got you.
and honestly, they signed a lot of two first name guys because everybody knows Honig is a very like I'm pretty sure the fourth Manning brother, his name is Honig Manning.
Hoeing.
Yeah, it's say it again.
Wait, what?
It's hoeing. Hoeing. Hoeing.
Wait a
It
second.
is?
Go to his tweet.
Yeah, I'm going back to your tweet.
No, I know, but that's like that's why I don't tweet for one thing. And the big fat fingers when you're also trying to write a story at the same time.
Wait.
You go and you transpose the I and the I and the N, and it's hoeing, which in subsequent tweet I corrected it, and then in all other references I made sure to write hoeing.
I get it. So we've been reporting on this incorrectly for 2 hours.
That's all you did was look at a tweet, for the love of
That's
God.
It's from our Padres insider, Kevin Acey.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
how will we go wrong? Also,
Friend of the show.
hoeing a verb.
Oh yeah, hoeing is a verb. Also, when you type in hoeing into Google, this is what it comes up with. Hang on a second. It just
Ho. Ho.
I'm not really. I don't know why they shortened it, but
Ho.
yeah. So, anyways,
Makes
That
sense.
reminds me how important every single word is, because I'm not going to like tell you how many words I wrote yesterday because that would just sound pretentious. But like the tweets were like 1% of it, but that just shows, Kevin, every word is important. Be better, Kevin.
Well, you know what? And we say that to you every time where we leave off. We always say, "Be better, Kevin," and then we'll see you next week. All right,
Yeah.
there he is, Kevin Acey. Anything else you want to say to us? Anything else you want to add? Any further guesses about the giant announcement coming up in the 8 o'clock hour? Anything before you hit the sack, because we know you're exhausted.
I'm not entirely convinced I didn't guess it, but I will find out. It's one of the things I'm probably not going to be able to sleep because I'm so excited.
There it is.
We get it. We get it.
Yeah,
All right. Hey, Kevin.
Yeah,
We love you.
will.
We love you.
I'll be better.
Be better, but we love you.
All right. I love you guys. Yeah.
There he goes. It's a thin line that divides love and hate. There's no question about it. And I really do think we walk that line with Kevin Acey every Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I found the clothes. That was cool.
Yeah, that was actually awesome. I can't believe you dug that up.
Listen,
We
I'm a pro.
are 14 minutes away from the biggest announcement we've made on San Diego Sports 760 maybe ever. So if you want to be a part of this, you're not want to go. You're gonna want. If you want to be a part of this, you're not want to.
You don't want to go. You're not going to want to go anywhere. I think that's what you're trying to say.
A triple negative. You
Yeah.
landed it.
Yeah.
Here's the point, though. Coming up next, it's good to be brothers. It's good when one of your brothers dates a superstar pop singer. It's also great when those two brothers talk for a living now that one's still playing football for a living and the other one's retired from playing football for a living because of what happens next. The next thing is what we're talking about, and that's next. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Huge announcement coming up just minutes away from that. We've cleared the decks. Luke Bryan tickets, we've shipped those out. Foo Fighters tickets, we've shipped those out. If you're looking for those tickets for the
Luke
rest.
Bryan, we still have. Foo Fighters win.
Oh, Luke Bryan, we never gave him away?
We have not given away Luke Bryan.
Oh, because all right, yeah.
We teased it. We
teased
did not
it.
give it away.
The phones didn't work at the end of the first hour then because that was a whoopsies.
Yeah.
All right, we still have Luke Bryan. We got to give those away, and we will, in fact, hang in there for about 2 more minutes, and we are going to tell you exactly when to call in for those Luke Bryan tickets. In the interim, Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce. Holy smokes, these two guys. They have the New Heights podcast. Jason just retired from the NFL after a Hall of Fame career. He will be in the Hall of Fame, most likely a first ballot Hall of Famer as a center. His brother, Travis Kelce, is a 100% no-brainer. He could be in the Hall of Fame right now. He's a 3-time Super Bowl winning tight end with the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, one of the most famous football players on the planet, dating arguably the most famous person on the planet, Taylor Swift. New Heights is up for sale for any network that wants to buy it for $100 million. $100 million.
That seems pretty good.
Not a bad ask. Not a bad ask. So
$100 million.
There have been a couple of recent podcasts or online shows turned mainstream, or I guess you could say streaming shows that have been broken off to the tune of $100 million or more dollars. Joe Rogan signed that giant Spotify deal, which is more of a comedy or an interview podcast format. You've had a sports podcast, or I guess you could call it that, YouTube show turned mainstream, where Pat McAfee sold his show or some part of the rights to his show to ESPN for something north of $100 million. I think that deal was worth $120 million.
That's crazy.
And so now here's a big ask, but the crazy thing about it is whoever signs Jason and Travis Kelce is probably going to have on their hands within the next calendar year a Taylor Swift interview.
Correct.
Some of the most famous people around the world will want to be on the podcast with them.
Correct.
I mean, they are now national superstars, international superstars.
Which, by the way, their clips on social media go viral. Clip after clip after clip, which is worth a ton of money.
Yeah, that level of engagement, you can't, it has to happen naturally. You can't force it. It's just people either dig what you're doing or not. And I want to say it, the authenticity of Jason Kelce and frankly Travis, because if you listen to their show, those two guys are just who they are.
Yeah.
They're just a couple of bros who are talking. Sometimes they get pissed at each other. It's fun. And then you get some of the insight to the games that they play in and stuff like that. It's been a pretty cool ride for both of them.
You know what's pretty interesting about that podcast? I would say it's sports adjacent. They go all over the place, which makes it palatable for a very wide audience. My wife will watch it.
Yeah. I've sat down and watched it, and the conversations they'll have sometime my wife will engage with, because it's interesting. I mean, they're just talking about life, being dads or brothers or football players or former football players in the case of Jason. Anyways, very interesting. Are we buyers? Are we going to try to buy them and have them be in the Big Rich, TD, and Fletch galaxy?
We might as well.
Yeah.
If I'll just write him a check and ask him not to cash it for like 2 million years.
757. If you want to win those Luke Bryan tickets, you have to be caller number 5 at 877-767-4760 at 757. And you're going to go see Luke Bryan at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Coming up next, we have a show-changing announcement on the other side.
We should talk about your feet first.
But before we run, I want to talk to you guys about my feet. It was very dramatic.
I wanted to press the button, but I also have to get this in.
Okay, really quick. I want to tell you guys about the art supports from the Good Feet store. I finished my NFL career, and I had a ton of back pain. For those of you who don't know, I finished my career after having back surgery, and I tried to play in the 2015 season. I couldn't. I kept getting turned down on some of these workouts that I was going to, and frankly, I'm glad I did, because one more year in the league probably would have done me in. I was dealing with the back pain as best I could. Sometimes I was taking anti-inflammatories. Sometimes, I would have good days. A lot of times I didn't, and I just dealt with it. I just was like, well, this is what it is. I just have pain now. Well, and then I walked into the Good Feet store, and I was a skeptic. I tried on these arch supports, and I said, how much could these little arch supports really do for the rest of my body? But you don't realize it. Your feet are the foundation for the rest of your body. By wearing these arch supports, it puts your feet in perfect alignment. What happens next? Well, your ankles and your feet feel better. Your knees feel better. Your back, your hip, whatever is bothering you. If you have any lower body joint pain, I'm telling you, go to the Good Feet store and give them a shot before you do anything else. You're going to save a ton of money. You're not going to be going, buying over the counter anti-inflammatories, but, by the droves. You're not going to be booking expensive appointments with orthopedic specialists and getting MRIs and things like that done. Go to the Good Feet store, spend a very limited amount of money, and get yourself a huge amount of result. That's Good Feet store. Check them out at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com.
This update brought to you by Bank of America. Padres down early yesterday to the Dodgers, 5-0 in the first. Matt Waldron gives up all 5 of those runs in the first inning, but the Padres did battle back. They were down 5-3 in the bottom of the ninth. Manny Machado hits his second home run of the game, brought San Diego within 1. Then Jackson Farrell Merrill tied the game with a home run of his own. Robert Suarez just absolutely dominated the Dodgers in extra innings. And then in the bottom of the 10th, Donovan Solano with the game winner walk-off RBI single. Padres win the thing 6-5. They play again tonight at 6:40. Dylan Cease on the mound. The trade deadline came and went yesterday, and the Padres did make one more move before time expired. They acquired closer Tanner Scott and fellow reliever Brian Honing from the Marlins. It was costly, though. In return, the Marlins got Robbie Snelling, Adam Major, Graham Pauley, and Jay Bashirs. That's numbers 2, 4, and 5 on their prospect list. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A., copyright 2024.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, happy Wednesday to those who celebrate. Okay, look, we've delayed this long enough. We've been talking about a big announcement coming up and a secret guest who will be unveiled here in just a moment. And now's the time. As you know, we've been hosting this morning show together, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, for almost 2 years now. In fact, we're coming up on the anniversary here in just about a month. You've also heard us over on our sister station, 101.5 KGB San Diego's Classic Rock, for months now in afternoons. Here today, we have the privilege to share some amazing news. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch is moving. We will be hosting mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. on 101.5 KGB. We are positively thrilled for this opportunity and at the same time pretty saddened to say goodbye to our morning show listeners here. But we're also thrilled for a new opportunity. We are getting the opportunity to welcome a true icon, a legend in sports broadcasting, Dan Patrick, to our station. He's got a career spanning over 3 decades. Dan has become obviously a household name in sports media, the host of the Dan Patrick Show, which you'll hear now mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. He's captivated with his insight, his humor. The interviews, they've been incredible. Obviously, you've heard many clips from Dan Patrick interviews played back here on this show many times over. It is our true honor to welcome into our family here at San Diego Sports 760, Dan Patrick joining Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Nice. Dan, welcome to the fold. Welcome to the Wolf Pack. Thank you for joining us.
Did I just lose you?
Yeah, you lost us just for a second, but you're back now for some reason. So
okay,
yeah, pick up right there.
Well,
okay.
I'll say it again really quick. So Dan, welcome to the Wolf Pack.
Thank you, guys, and honored to be able to be in San Diego. Got a family in San Diego. Had a brother who worked in radio in San Diego, and one of our favorite Super Bowls in San Diego many, many, many years ago. So it's an honor to be in a great city and following the tradition of you 3 guys.
Well, we appreciate you, man. Appreciate you being here. What does it mean to you, though, to be here in San Diego?
Well, there's great history there. I mean, I go back to, Tony Gwynn with the Padres, covering those teams, at least on the national level. Just being around great people, great athletes who are from there, visiting there. And once again, as I said, I had family that still lives there in San Diego. So it's a great market, and I look forward to trying to entertain the masses.
Well, hopefully your family feels the same way. I don't know if they're tired of your voice, but they are going to be hearing you here on San Diego Sports 760 from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. So maybe you won't owe them as many phone calls. Now, I mentioned this, and while we are saddened to leave the mornings here, we are going to be broadcasting live every day on San Diego Sports 760 as well. We'll be hosting middays from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So Big Rich, Didi, and Fletch, if you're still interested in getting your fix, you'll be able to hear our voices here later on in the show day, and we'll lead you right into John and Jim for the afternoon drive. But Dan, while we have you here, like I mentioned in sort of the little intro, you have insight and interview experience that is really seconded by nobody. I mean, it's pretty impressive what you've done over the course of your career. When you prepare, for a huge interview, when you have a guest that maybe sort of, I don't know, maybe rattles your sensibilities from a broadcasting standpoint, how do you prepare? Like, what's, as a former athlete who now broadcasts for a living, I know I have preparations that I've carried over from sport, but what's your process? How do you dig in and really figure out what questions to ask, because you ask such good ones?
Well, I think you got to be brief and to the point when you're asking a question, and you want to have something that's open-ended. You want to get that person talking. I think that's really the important part of all of this. Is it's not about your questions, it's about their answers. And it doesn't matter who it is, because we have the biggest names in sports entertainment, but the process is kind of the same. Get them talking, be a good listener, hear what they're saying. If there's a follow-up to that, take advantage of that. But I always want the person to know that I did my homework on them, that I'm always looking to come up with something a little different, just so they know that I respect who they are and what they do. And it's not just about my questions. I really want to find out something from this person. And then I'm the conduit to the audience. You have somebody on, you may not know who it is, or you may find out more about somebody you do know. But that's the job every single day, every single interview.
Dan, we did a little homework as well. Your brother, prior to us being San Diego Sports 760, we were 690. And your brother was the program director over here.
Yep. Mighty 690 used to tell me how great the station was. And once again, as I said, having family in the area, I'd like to move the show to San Diego, but there might be some hurdles there to get my entire group here, the Danettes, to move their families to San Diego. But this is the next best thing.
Great city, you know the weather, excellent public schools. I mean, if I'm speaking directly to the Danettes, I'm telling you, it's a wonderful place to live. I digress. Look here, Dan Patrick will be taking over mornings here on San Diego Sports 760 from 6 to 9 a.m. Big Rich, Didi, and Fletch moving over to 101.5 KGB, San Diego's Classic Rock. We'll be on our sister station there from 6 to 10 a.m. and then rejoining the sports crew over here from 1 to 3 p.m. Doing middays leading into John and Jim on the schedule as it is. Dan, how did you meet Adam Sandler? Because you're in all of these flicks and I've loved your roles, your bit spots. How did that relationship start?
I was at a Knicks game. It was halftime, and I saw Sandler kind of out in the hallways. He was sitting by himself, and he had just got through filming Happy Gilmore, and somebody didn't show up for a role, and he was kind of lamenting the fact that trying to get people showing up, make sure people are being professional. And I said, look, you ever need somebody, you want me to play a sportscaster or a policeman, you let me know. And he goes, all right, you're in my next movie. You're going to be Danny McEffin Patrick. He didn't use McEffin. He actually used the word. And he goes, you're going to have a mustache and you're going to be a police officer. And I walked away going, oh, yeah, right. Okay. Well, lo and behold, he did The Longest Yard. And I'm in there in the beginning. I arrest Sandler and I have a mustache. And I'm a police officer.
You should bring I would say you should bring the mustache back.
Then, no, because every time I have a role, now I'm up for something in Happy Gilmore 2, and I don't know what role, but he said he's writing my portion, or he already wrote my portion of it. But once you're in, you're in. You're just part of his family, and he has the same people. His set has the same kind of vibe there. He does it like any outside interference. It's just, we're going to do a movie. Let's have fun doing the movie. Maybe play some basketball while we're, doing the movie. And I told him no more mustaches. I just I was being typecast as a, police officer, but he's put me in over 20 movies, and Happy Gilmore 2 is, I guess that's the unofficial title, but that'll be coming out. We'll probably shoot that at some point, either late fall or sometime in the next summer.
Okay, two-parter here. Is there any way you can ask Adam if we can just be extras somewhere in Happy
The
Gilmore
answer
2?
would be no.
Okay,
No,
okay,
let's
good,
just
good.
hit that.
Good.
Yeah, let's just, I don't want to string you along here. I want to break it to you, and it hurts, but our relationship will prosper because of it.
Yeah, the Band-Aid.
No, the answer is no.
Yeah, the Band-Aid has been torn off,
Yeah.
and we
Yes,
appreciate. Thank you for that.
Also, this one may be more for Rich here. So the Water Boy,
Yes.
that inspired Rich to go play professional football in the NFL. You were also in the Water Boy, Dan. So Rich, was it Dan Patrick's performance in the Water Boy that made you want to get into sports broadcasting?
Yeah, Dan, I don't want to overstate it, but your filmography has led to, honestly, opening doors in my life that would not have been opened otherwise. And what TD just said is 100% true. As ridiculous and stupid as that sounds, I played football because...
Rich, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I'm your Mr. Miyagi. I mean, come on.
All right. So honestly, it was the title role. It was the Water Boy, Adam Sandler's portrayal of Bobby Boucher, which really inspired me. I promise you, I mean, may I be struck with lightning right now if I'm lying. I watched that movie. I'm not kidding. It came out on HBO the year before 8th grade football, the summer before 8th grade football started that fall.
Yeah.
And I watched that movie, I kid you not, maybe 40 times. Like, I could probably recite your line chapter and verse. It doesn't matter. Like, every line in the movie at a point I had down. I loved it so much, and I was so fearful of starting to play football because I had played basketball. I played a little lacrosse, but it's a violent game, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be good enough. And if it weren't for the Water Boy, I would not have had an NFL career. And that is a true story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Sandler said, I want you to play yourself. And then I said, okay, I'll do it, but I don't want to play myself. That's not any fun. And so I think that was the only time that I was Dan Patrick of ESPN. And then he started giving me different roles, different characters. And it's been fun. I got to host. I was in a scene with Dave Matthews, Jennifer Aniston, and Nicole Kidman, and the movie was Just Go With It, where I play a nightclub owner. And that's when I realized, I'm up here with a couple. These people can act, and I know that they know that I can't act. I just wanted to try to get my part done as quick as possible before they realized that I couldn't act. And it was that's where I realized, be careful what you ask for, wanting to be in a movie and act, because they were professional. Now, Dave Matthews was a goofball.
Right.
But Jennifer and Nicole, they had no idea. Sandler just introduced me as, that's Danny. He's a sports guy. So Jennifer Aniston would say, sports guy. I didn't even know my name. And Nicole Kidman couldn't understand why all the guys on the set wanted to talk to me. And then she was like, who exactly are you? And I said, I'm a sports guy. Well, Keith Urban comes to the set the last day. Keith Urban comes up and starts talking my ear off about Tennessee Titans football. And she's looking at this like she'd spent no time with me, but her husband comes in and wants to talk football as well. But great experience, and I look forward to Happy Gilmore too.
Dan Patrick joining us. Last two questions for you, Dan. I'll give them to you quick. First one, and I don't want to do like, hey, who's the best, because I understand the situation. But outside of Sandler, who's an actor or an actress that you worked with on a movie set who you were so happily surprised that they turned out to be just a great hang?
I haven't been in too many other movies with anybody else. Everything's been I've done movies with Anna Faris. It was a Sandler movie. He wasn't in it, but I mean, I've been around. Sandler always has beautiful women. Every one of his movies.
Yep.
Susan Sarandon, Jessica Biel, Emmanuel Shrieky, like all of these beautiful women who have no idea who I am, but the guys all do. But my favorite hang, Will Ferrell went to Ireland with us, and he did four shows in Dublin when Notre Dame was over there playing Navy, and we took our show over there. He was so much fun.
Yeah.
And such a unbelievable team player. He's like, whatever you guys are doing, I'm doing. There was no special treatment. He flew himself over because we brought it up on the show years ago that we want to go to Dublin, go to the Guinness brewery, and Will would, email me and say, I'm in. Constantly. Whenever we brought it up, he'd say, I'm in. Well, we get to that point where we go, all right, we can do this. And Will goes, I'm in. His dad's birthday was on the Friday of that week. He came over and stayed and then left Thursday after the show to fly back for his father's birthday in Los Angeles. And he did it on his own dime and his own time. And I was very, very fortunate to be able to call him a friend. Bryan Cranston, of course, from Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle, has been very generous with his time as well. So I don't know, you kind of stumble into our separate worlds and then they collide sometimes because there's kind of a mutual admiration society there.
Yeah. Last one for you before we let you go. Is there a guest or guests who you haven't had on the show yet you're dying to interview? Because as I mentioned earlier, your interviews are some of the ones that we've literally listened to some of your full interviews over and over again because there's so much to mine from them. Is there any guest or a reach guest maybe that you wish to have on the show in the future?
I'd like to have Michael Jordan on. I got to interview him during those championship runs. After every time he won a championship, had him on SportsCenter. But to be able to kind of lock him in for a half hour and then just talk. And even, if it's about his business and, what he does with Nike and, you're that competitive and what's the outlet now for that competition? Kind of looking back, but also looking at other athletes now. The NBA can't get out from Michael's shadow. Of all the sports, the PGA Tour is still trying to get out of Tiger Woods' shadow. The NBA is kind of in that same boat with Mike. It's always, the PGA Tour more because Tiger's still out there.
Yep.
But Mike, it's still there. So I would say Jordan, just because he doesn't do interviews. And when we did Sports Entry's 50 Greatest Athletes, and I got a chance to sit down and talk to him. But even then, it's kind of like you're having the appetizer and then you have to get up. You don't get the meal. And I just found that he's competitive. There's a lot of athletes who compete even during an interview. And that may sound strange, but they do. They want to be challenged a little bit. And I always found that Michael was like that he wanted to make sure, you did your homework and you're going to ask him the right questions. John McEnroe was like that. Pete Sampras, like Kobe was like that. They want you to don't waste my time. And I'd love to be able to kind of not attack Mike, but just go after him. Let's see if we can go back and forth a little bit and have some fun and, share that with an audience.
Look forward to hearing that on San Diego Sports 760. Dan, this is an incredible opportunity for us speaking with you, as I know you've probably heard from many former athletes and many broadcasters over the course of this long career you've had. It's such an honor to speak with you and a privilege. And it'll be the privilege of our listeners here on San Diego Sports 760 to hear your voice from 6 to 9 a.m. every single morning as we make the transition over to 101.5 KGB, San Diego's classic rock, to bring entertainment to that new audience from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And of course, rejoin the group over here for middays from 1 to 3 p.m. as Big Rich, TD, and Fletch continues on the station, but on a different time slot. Dan, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Rich, thank you. TD, thank you as well. In the city of San Diego, we look forward to waking up with you every single morning. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Wow. Wow. So from now on, from 6 to 9 a.m. here on San Diego Sports 760, it's going to be Dan Patrick Show. 9 a.m. to noon, Colin Cowherd. From 12 to 1 p.m., it's going to be Ben Fletcher's very own live radio show, leading into Big Rich, TD, and Fletch for 2 hours from 1 to 3 p.m. And that'll bring us up to the anchors on this station, John and Jim, from 3 to 6 p.m., your afternoon drive. I don't know what to say other than thank you to all of our listeners for hanging in there with us in the mornings here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll have a lot more on this in just a little bit, and we can't wait for the new opportunity from 6 to 10 a.m. morning drive on 101.5 KGB. We are positively thrilled.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down. I'm beside myself. I'm so excited about everything. Excited to be going over to the mornings on the FM show. Excited for the new lineup here on San Diego Sports 760. I feel like we're knocking a little dust off. I mean, this is cool, man.
It's absolutely cool. Listen, so much more on that. We have to react to this. We have another surprise just a little bit later on in this hour. You may be thinking to yourself, man, the Wolfpack's a little light this morning. Well, we're going to crack that in just a little bit. Before we run here, we are in full swing watching the athletes compete out in Paris. Here's what's happening currently in the medal race. The U.S. is on top, 27 overall medals. France is trailing behind them by 6 medals at 21 in second place in the medal count. The host country there. Also, England in third place. They are creeping up the board with 17 overall medals. Now, the gold, a little bit different. China in the lead there with 8 gold medals so far, followed by Team Japan. They have 7. France, England, Australia, all knotted up in third place, tied at 6. South Korea just behind those 3 in fourth place. They have 5 gold medals. And the United States has added 1 more medal, gold medal, since the beginning of the week. They have 4 golds right now. Listen, this update has been brought to you by Islands Restaurants, your local paradise. I love Islands. You know, you've heard me talk about this many times. They have something for everybody at the restaurant. I got picky eaters. My oldest actually is pretty good. He'll eat whatever's on the menu, and he finds something every single time, something new to eat, which is actually kind of fun to see him explore the menu. But my youngest, super picky eater. I bring him to Islands. He always leaves with a full belly. And anybody who has a kid who turns away every single thing you put in front of him, you know how that feels, and you know how good it feels when you finally find a restaurant he likes or she likes. Okay, so that's one good thing about Islands. Also, how about this? Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you have a work date coming up. Maybe you have a date coming up. You want to hit up a happy hour with reasonable prices. They got you covered from 3 to 6:30 p.m. every single weekday. You go into Islands, you're going to enjoy the Big Wave Burger with seasoned fries, or maybe those yaki tacos, or their tropical Mai Tais. Everything's at your fingertips. The coldest beer in town, and I do mean that. They have those frozen mugs with the Sunny Blonde Ale. Enjoy your trip to the Islands. Visit your local paradise, Islands. Fine burgers and drinks.
Whew, here I am. There we go. This report sponsored by AutoZone. Padres win last night 6-5. They were down early, 5-0. Matt Waldron gave up 5 runs in the first inning, but they battled back in extra innings, and it was Donovan Solano with the game winner walk-off RBI single. Woo! Meanwhile, the trade deadline came and went yesterday. Padres did make one more move before time expired. They acquired closer Tanner Scott and fellow reliever Brian Honing from the Marlins. Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Yeah. Yeah, it is Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Just dropped some big news. Big news here. San Diego Sports 760 seeing a little refresh here on the lineup. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch going to be moving over to 1015 KGB in the mornings. So, we were doing that. We were doing the rock station in the afternoons, but now we're going to be doing mornings over there. So, listen, if you like what you see, you head over to 1015 KGB because that's where this party's going to head 6 to 10 on weekdays. Meanwhile, the legendary Dan Patrick going to be on here from 6 to 9. Dan Patrick, an absolute hero of mine, broadcasting legend. The guy is absolutely amazing, and to get to chat with him the past 20 minutes or so was that. I mean, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And actually, he starts tomorrow. So starting tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., you are going to hear Dan Patrick here on San Diego Sports 760. Then Colin Coward will be here at 9. And then Fletch here from Big Rich, TD, and Fletch will be on from noon to 1. And then we'll be back with you here on San Diego Sports 760. The Wolfpack converges again like Voltron coming together from 1 to 3.
It's like when the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all come together
Yes.
and they build that giant thing and they fight I don't know, whatever they fight.
Those monster people.
Yeah, which were usually just like weirdos wearing suits and costumes, and sometimes they're wearing tights, and you're like, I could see that dude's whole dong. Like, this is a really disturbing kid show.
And turns out that dude now is a diver for Team France.
We didn't even cover that.
No.
Yeah, Team France has a synchronized diver who is packing a whole. I mean, he's got luggage in his Speedo.
Yes, I mean, golly, it's unbelievable. So much so, I laughed about it last night as I was putting things together on our daily rundown. I opened it up, and that's what was open. So I asked Sarah, my wife, I'm like, have you seen this guy? And she's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just flipped the computer over. She's like, oh my God, send that to me. Yeah.
Could you airdrop that? I want it in the highest quality definition picture possible.
I want to read that article.
So listen, which, by the way, I always watch the synchronized diving for the articles.
Yes, exactly.
It's just the same way I took in Playboy as a child.
Correct.
Listen, here's in brief, because I could probably speak for days about how grateful I am for everything that I've been given in my life. I'm just going to say this. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who has joined us in the mornings. And I'm not just talking about the people who listen to our voices, but the people who see us in the grocery stores or out on the beach or while we're out walking the dog or, driving by on the road, a wave out the window, whatever it may be. I'm not just talking about friends and family who care about us, but, people around this building, around this city who will drop by and say some kind words. We've made a lot of friends since we've cracked the microphones and joined up as a team together here, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. And we're super proud of what we're doing. And beyond that, we couldn't be more thrilled that people have really responded to it. there are some times where we'll be talking to each other and get lost in the fact that this conversation is being broadcast because we truly enjoy talking to each other. We like debating, we like fighting sometimes. We're best friends. And it's very rare that you have an opportunity to work with your very best friends. And I hope that shines through every single day. But we are enthusiastic about what we get to do. And the fact that now we not only get to do it here on San Diego Sports 760 in the afternoons from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., but also we get to do it in mornings over on KGB, San Diego's Classic Rock, those call letters, 1015 KGB. I mean, you've heard those call letters if you've lived here in San Diego for decades and decades and decades. It's bedrock to the radio listening community. And we are honored. We are honored to be joining that group over there with Clint August in the afternoon and Allie and the whole gang. It is truly moving that we get this opportunity. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're going to make me tear up a little bit. Look, it was a year and 11 months ago, almost to the day, that we got to join forces here. And we were literally thrown together a day or two before that. And we just hit it off, family, friends, and all you listening out there became part of this family as well and are part of this family. We absolutely love you guys. The same things we say on air, we say off the air. You mean so much to us. Look, we are having a blast and we are living the dream. And that's all because of you guys. And man, I don't know what to say other than thank you as well.
Yeah, this has been an amazing ride. The ride's not over.
No,
we're not going anywhere. In fact, you're going to hear us. You're going to hear a lot of us.
Yeah. Listen, well, not 7 hours of radio anymore, only 6.
Yeah, that's right.
Except for Fletch.
Yeah. Fletch, dude. I mean, Fletch, you're going to hear his voice for 4 hours in the morning with us over on 1015 KGB. And look, one of the youngest, brightest upcomers in broadcast, he is here going to be hosting his own live show for an hour in the middle of the day, which is incredible. There very few people get to say that. Look, I don't want to sit here and act like we are doing a victory lap and we're waving to everybody. And then at some point we see this as being the crowning achievement. It's not. What it is. It's a start of a journey, and it's a journey that began, like you mentioned, a year and 11 months ago that we continue on. One more surprise coming up next. Ben Fletcher, who has been traversing the country. He's been on the Midwest tour, going from state to state to state. He is going to put a pause on his vacation, and we'll have the whole Wolfpack back together for the very last time in the mornings on San Diego Sports 760. Again, just to remind you, if you're just tuning in right now, moving forward, it's going to be Dan Patrick from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. It's going to be Colin Cowherd and the Herd. That's going to be from 9 to noon. And then you're going to hear Ben Fletcher's voice. Fletch is going to be on from noon to 1. Then it's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch from 1 to 3, followed by John and Jim from 3 to 6, as they've been in your afternoon drive. That is the station's lineup. That is what it's going to be moving forward. And coming up next, Fletch hops on for one last time here in the mornings on San Diego Sports 760. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. One last go around on these microphones in the morning here for us. A lot of memories made in a very short amount of time. This has been an incredible honor to be a part of this. And as a matter of fact, well, we're getting Fletch on the phone, calling him out in the Midwest. We welcomed in Noreen Ippolito, market president. She's joining us on the air for a moment here as well. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited right now about what all the fun changes we're making here on the station. So congratulations to you, but you are not departing from the station, which we love. And over on 101.5 KGB.
Yeah, that is, we're thrilled. Obviously, you've heard our voices. Collaborating with KGB, I've been doing sports updates and mornings there for years now. We've done Big Rich, TD, and Fletch from 3 to 7 p.m. for months now over there. And we're thrilled to be a part of the morning. Like I said, those call letters are significant, and that is not lost on us, the privilege and the trust you have in us. I guess I do want to at least finish this part of our show with, why do you trust us over there? Are you out of your mind, Noreen? Have you seen some of the things that I'm literally like seconds away from shotgunning a beer right now on this show?
Yeah, we might make some new rules for you guys in the next couple of days. Yeah.
That
What?
seems a little
Yeah.
outrageous.
Wait, does Noreen want to take our toys away?
I think she does. Well, listen, you could take a sports morning show and maybe even throw us on classic rock, but you can't take my car keys. You cannot.
She cannot do that. She cannot do
He is
that.
literally shotgunning the beer in the studio
Well,
Yes.
right now.
It's been a tradition, and usually we reserve this for Fridays, but I
Yeah.
think it's important for us to.
Yeah, it's a bar cart
Just a
Wednesday.
Wednesday today here,
It's
Rich.
Just a standard Wednesday.
Here we go,
Okay, here we
and
go.
it's to the lips,
1,
and it's
2,
popped.
3, 4. Done in 4
Oh my
seconds
God.
and on the ground.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
It's
A
fine.
little burp to follow it up. That was special.
Noreen,
Welcome.
thank you so much for everything you've done for this show.
Love you guys.
We love you too, and we
Love you.
appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We got Fletchy.
Fletch is here. Okay, good. Ben, Fletch, are you there?
Hey. Yeah, man. What's going on? What did you guys talk about today?
Dude, nothing much. You know, we covered the Olympics a little bit. We were talking some NFL. Obviously, the Padres at the trade deadline. Yeah, nothing too much. No, obviously,
Rich,
we let the listeners in on some of what's been going on in the background here for the parts of this week. How you feeling, pal?
I feel awesome, man. This is really just such an exciting time for all three of us. And Noreen, if you're still there, we love you. Thank you.
I am
but
indeed. I'm
Rich-
cleaning up the beer cans on the floor.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry about that.
Very, very good. Rich, the funniest part of the show today was when you were talking with Dan Patrick and you did one of your Big Rich 2-minute intros to a question, and you were asking him, how do you prepare for your interview when you get going with someone who might not necessarily is sports? Well, Dan said was, I try to keep my questions quick.
Yeah.
Not.
And by the way, if you listen to Dan Patrick, that's true sometimes.
Right.
But if you're in
but
broadcast,
He
you
said
love,
he tries.
Oh, yeah. You love the sound of your own voice. Actually, I'll tell you what, I miss your voice. It's good to hear you, and I'm thrilled that you could make time a little bit here on vacation to jump on the air. Is there anything, because me and TD, we've kind of already done it. We've given our closing thoughts to our morning show listeners here. Obviously, many of them know where to find us already on 101.5 KGB from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. starting Monday. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, mornings on sports has been a huge part of my life for 6 years. And Rich, TD, you guys know we've been doing it for 2. But before that, from Nick Hardwick and Judson Richards to Mike Costa to Steve Hartman, I've been pretty privileged to work with some incredible people in mornings on sports, and none more so than the two of you. So thank you both for kind of building this thing with me and getting to the point where now we're wanted across multiple stations, and it's pretty cool to say that. But I've loved my time on morning sports, and it's been such a huge part of my life, from being unemployed to Noreen and the rest of the people at iHeart giving me a shot in the morning. So incredibly grateful for what that station and what that time slot has done for me and us and my family. And now we'll see, man. The best is in front of us. I can't wait for Monday morning, boys.
Yeah, we're thrilled. We are positively thrilled. Noreen, Fletch is going to be hosting his very own hour-long show in the middle of sports. Your level of nervousness with giving him his own show.
Yeah, there's a little nervousness there. We're asking you please just wear a shirt is what we're asking.
Yeah.
But we know you can do it.
I am not wearing a shirt right now.
I am not surprised, and I'm glad we're not on FaceTime. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Now TD's drinking a beer, too.
Listen, you don't think I'm cracking a beer one more time in the morning here on San Diego Sports 760, Noreen?
Oh,
Yeah.
This is what it's all about, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. But
buddy, I cheers you, but there's a hole in my can.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But cheers to all of you. Cheers. Noreen.
It's kind of like the pods last night. Walk off.
Gosh.
In the 10th, right?
Yes.
Crazy. That's what you're doing right now. We're walking it off. And
That's
then
right.
we will absolutely see you from 1 to 3 on this station for everyone. And then on 101.5 KGB.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be a good time.
we are pumped. Yeah, listen, to all of our listeners out there, again, if you're just jumping in and you're trying to figure out what we're talking about, we are kind of shifting the deck chairs around, right? You know, this is a big battleship, and we're planning on going to war. We're excited for the challenge ahead, and we're really pumped that we're a part of the team over on 101.5 KGB from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., which means that over here, mornings are going to sound different. You're going to have Dan Patrick on from 6 a.m. to 9. It's going to be Colin Cowherd, as usual, from 9 to noon. Ben Fletcher takes over from noon to 1. And then from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., it'll be Big Rich, TD, and Fletch leading you right into our Anchor Afternoon Drive show. That is going to be John and Jim in their same spots as usual. So, yeah, that's the lineup. Those are the changes. And here's my final thought.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Dog.
Banana bread?
Oh, no. What?
All right, bye, guys. I'm going to get a beer.
Okay, go get a beer.
Drink up, Fletch. We'll talk to you, obviously, on Monday and many times before then. Okay, so there goes Fletch. He will be with us, obviously, a firmly entrenched in the Wolfpack here as we move on to the future. I love hearing this. You can actually hear TD picking up the phone with Fletch there. There he is.
I didn't realize my mic was on.
No, it's cool. This is a fun day. This is a celebration. I do not want to get emotional because I just, all I'll say is this. Thank you again. Thank you once more. Thank you for trusting us with your morning drive. Thank you for being a part of the fun that we've had over the past 2 years. Thank you to all the warm wishes that were being sent in droves now. We see you all. We will respond to all of you in time. It's going to take a little bit to file through every single one of them, but I promise you, you will get an acknowledgement, and we appreciate it very much. This has been an honor of a lifetime, and this is coming from someone who, in many conversations, I've said this. I feel like I've kind of lived 2 lives. You know, I did something special with the first chapter of my life, getting the opportunity to play out a dream and be a professional football player and play in the NFL and do all those things. And when that chapter ended, I didn't know what was next for me, and broadcasting sort of found me. And then I fell in love with it, and here we are. It's a new milestone. It's a new chapter, and I am absolutely positively thrilled with the direction. I couldn't be happier spending that time with 2 co-hosts who I absolutely love and adore, and I can't wait to continue making great shows with. We did it, buddy.
We did it. Yeah, you're not supposed to get emotional because I get emotional because I'm a sympathetic crier. Listen, Justin, Jeremy, congrats on the Foo Fighter tickets and the Luke Bryan tickets. Man, so many people to thank: the hangers, the bangers, the roadies, the dogs, Foulmouth Carrie. We appreciate you. No Job Joe, Budweiser Scott, Road Dog Rodell, Queen of the North, Carolyn, Showering with Deb, Wet Deb,
Deb.
Prosthetic Rob, Florida Pat. We're going to call him the Rooster Paris, maybe Big Rooster Paris. Yeah, you know why. Look, every single one of you, we love you guys. But it doesn't end. It continues. It continues on Monday morning over on 101.5 KGB. That's where you want to go to find us.
Love you all. Thank you all. The Herd is next. And for one final time here on San Diego Sports 760, thank you, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Out.